This is the second molehill video. The dirt that I'm getting out of the molehills, that makes the bulge, the hill on top of the land. Since we're in Florida, it's very sandy soil. And I've done some research, and it's very purified soil, sandy soil, because these little creatures are constantly filtering it with their claws. And as they're digging tunnels, they're pushing up this dirt above the ground. So I don't like to waste anything, and when my neighbors complain to me about molehills, I tell them, what do you mean? I'm getting free dirt. So even though it's sandy dirt, you can take this soil and you can mix it with purchased compost and also purchased composted manure, and it makes like a perfect 3-ingredient soil for planting. But what my favorite thing is to do with this is to take this sand and get it in a container and take some paint and mix the sand with the paint, and it turns into some kind of, I don't know what else to call it, but concrete. So here's an example. Here's just a little extra piece of wood from my amateur carpentry, and what I did was put latex paint, acrylic, just the typical latex paint you get from a home improvement store. And then after the paint was there, the colors I wanted, then I poured some of this sandy soil on top of it and, stirred it around. And then I put some little shells and other decorations in it. Let's see. And this one I did about 2 years ago. I've kept it in the house, and although sometimes parts of the year I have problems with roaches, and they usually eat things, they did not even nibble on any of this. And I actually have some of this material, the sand plus the paint, outside in the backyard where there's rain and wind and extremes of temperature, and it's still there. So I'm just amazed at this whole thing. This is very simple, but this one is the nice one. I like to save special jars. I don't have anything in this one, but here's the top. It's paint with some shells and different colors, and I also have some beads in there. Actually, you could stick anything on it. And here's another side. And here's some more beads and a button. Buttons are very nice to do artwork with. And the same thing, it's very hard. It dries pretty quickly. And why should you throw things out? Why should you go to a home improvement store or arts and crafts store and buy sand for your artwork if you could, get it from a molehill? This man in the neighborhood who hates moles and goes around putting these very sharp traps so they'll catch the poor thing, and I don't know what his problem is. Anyway, I tried to tell him one day that moles are beneficial, that I researched it online, and they're very good because they aerate the soil, and they also eat the roots of weeds, and they also eat tiny insects. And he got mad that I said that, and he said, okay, I'm going to put a bunch of dead ones in a bag and leave the bag in your front yard. Well, that was one of the first things he said to me. He said other things to me, so that seemed kind of threatening. So I have had to call the sheriff 3 times for this guy. And my other neighbor witnessed him threatening me, so I had a lot of proof. But he doesn't listen to them. The sheriff's deputy tells him to stay away from me, walk on the other side of the street, etc., etc. And it didn't do any good. But I seem to have solved the problem by accident with this guy, because after a few months of all these episodes, he stopped by again and he said, "Can I talk to you?" And I said, "No." And he kept talking to me anyway. And this time he was complaining about my neighbor across the street who painted their house very bright blue and very bright yellow. And he said they shouldn't be allowed to have those kind of colors here. And I said to him, it's not illegal, it's not unethical, and it's not forbidden in the Bible to have those colors, blue and yellow. And he got very annoyed and he said, "This has nothing to do with the Bible," and he sped off, and I haven't seen him again. I mean, I see him around the neighborhood, but it doesn't bother me anymore. So sometimes scripture protects you in a surprising way.